Hey guys, I'm right here, and today I just finished watching Shogun, and this was peak. I believe this should deserve awards. This show was just phenomenal. This started off with John Blackthorne, who shipwrecked in Japan in the 1600s, where this takes place, and through all that, there's a complex political um, fight between five regions, five leaders who become disagreement with what to do uh, in Japan, and we followed through the eyes of Toranaga, and he is one of the main characters in this show, who was just phenomenal. Whole entire show, he was so awesome as a leader, and of course as a strategist. You never knew what his next move was, really. That made him such an interesting character. And then finally, Mariko, who was ashamed of her bloodline, father doing something very, very poor, has had the past 14 years to really just not wanting to be there anymore. And she just was also actually the translator for uh, John Blackthorne, between her and Toranaga, and Blackthorne and all the other characters in between. Whenever John needed to translate anything, but through this, Blackthorne and Marco got a little more close and personal throughout this whole journey, and it was exceptional to watch. Amazing to watch. Great chemistry with all these characters intertwining, and I had such a great time with these characters, in the good and the bad. It was so well written. The political intrigue between the leaders, who our main antagonist Ishiro was the one against everything that was happening, and it was just a back and forth battle. It was truly a political battle. No, not one knife was shown against these two characters, I think. I believe so. And between Ishiro and Toranaga. And through all this, it was just a battle of who is going to pull the trigger first or not pull the trigger, and what is going to cause the war. And throughout this show, you hear these side leaders, these who wanted control, don't want to do this. And there's a huge religious part to this, being a Catholic, a Christian, uh, to a Protestant, and then what the Japanese believe in. Complete conflict between them as well. Also intertwined to what was even the beliefs of Blackthorne, who was a Protestant and did not believe what Mariko and the others believed in. Not Toranaga, he believed in his own thing. It was so interesting what that dynamic was back then as well. You were just killed for it, honestly. Throughout the show, you were just killed off for which religion you were for. Sometimes in this show, and it felt like at any moment one bad move and our main characters will just get killed off, because it had a subtle gore to it, and just every time there was any blood spilled, it was a huge moment, and so it was always whoa, 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 and it was fantastic, because it was well written, had a great build up, and just bang, it was phenomenal, you know. Without going too much spoiler, because I highly recommend this show. The likes to this was just the design of the whole thing, the from the wardrobe, the characters, the acting, the visuals, the shots, all over. This was amazing. Peak. I'm telling you, this show was almost perfect. And by the end, you understand what it all means. And it all stems from episode one to the first few episodes, really coming back around in the last episodes. And it's like a phenomenal, a beautiful, tragic poem, is what this whole show was. And throughout the show, they have these glimpses of poems they speak about. Some beautiful, some tragic, and it was just a sweet little candy, a piece of candy. I don't know. This was great. The music. Oh my gosh, perfect timing to many occasions, and this was just on another level of shows that this year. I mean, what is this gonna top it? Really, honestly, from the first episode, you were like, you are ingrained into going, yep, yep, this is show of the year material here, and it doesn't even matter if it is material show for of the year. It's just the actual show itself just gives us a perspective in life and such. You learn from this, historically, because this is historical fiction. You learn a bit about the culture of Japan of back then, of what it was. And so you learn from this show. And that's one of the best things I enjoy about shows, that you sometimes learn from it. Major lessons, life lessons that could, in fact, uh, help you or just have knowledge of in the real world. You know, this may just be a show, but it's a show with heart and a show with great embrace of what it is to and why we should watch these things, watch these shows, these movies. And this is a just one major example of why this is a piece of art. Yeah, the literal part of this is the poems throughout the show, but the whole thing in itself is the poem, this show. And you will understand once you watch the show what that poem means, what that poem talking about. They talk about it at the very end of in the last episode, and throughout the show, it builds up these pieces of that poem that finally, in the end, you may not understand it, but at the same time, you will understand. That's one of the best parts. It's how great this show was. Instead of spoiling it and saying more about what happens to the characters and what happens in the story, I just highly recommend watching this and just watch it for yourself. And I hope you enjoy. And for that, I give this a 10 out of 10. 11,000 to 10. This show was, it was just phenomenal. End of story. That's just how this show just felt like from the start to the end. Until next time, Amore out.